We know Tommy Rees now the offensive coordinator next season for the Browns. Just your analysis. When you sit down and look at that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you listened to some of the introduction press conference yesterday, and I think you can see the draw to Tommy as he's a young guy, 32, 33 years old, is but very mature. So, at least in the exposure you have to him, talking through his thought process and where he's at with with taking the job in Cleveland and how he thinks about offensive football. You can see the mesh point. I especially like his philosophical angle of strategic advantage comes through deception and making your run look like pass and vice versa. That creates a bit of ambiguity for the defense. So, I mean, listen, I think there's a mesh here between things that Tommy's done in his career. I think he's a guy who can lean into bigger personnel, multiple tight ends. He's certainly, because, if you look back at his Notre Dame career, calling plays there, it was really the Michael Mayer show. Didn't have much of wide receiver talent that made a difference on those Notre Dame teams. It kind of he had been after Chase Claypool and some of the guys who'd gone through there. So I think he's comfortable living in a world where tight ends are a featured focal part of the passing game. He certainly is diverse in run game approach, and I think he'll mesh well with Mike Bloomgren in terms of what they like to game plan and how he thinks through things with Kevin. And he's also not afraid to get in a world where he has a running quarterback. He worked with Jalen Milrow, and I think they did some exciting things with him, putting him into space, letting him use his athleticism. He can dial in some RPOs. I think the thing that I like about Tommy more than anything, as far as a fit with Kevin, is Kevin's going to drive the bus. It's going to be largely what he likes to do, and obviously paired to what Bloomgren likes to do in the run game and protection game. But Tommy has a broad level of experience to different types of quarterbacks, different types of offense, and what can work to, use motion and manipulation to create some advantages. So I expect him to be a guy, obviously not calling plays as we know it right now. Kevin Stefanski kind of cleared that up yesterday. But if he's somebody who is working with the collective, the totality of the offense, they're interviewing quarterback coaches, so he's not really tied to the quarterback room so much. He's just looking at ways at which this group can collectively make their run and pass work as a more cohesive, big picture offense, and then obviously tie in more modern wrinkles that make them an effective group. Because I think that where they got off track last year is they had no ability to attack three levels of the field, whether it's through running, passing, or different diverse approaches to things. They failed to make that a multifaceted offensive approach that got after defenses in ways that make it hard horizontally and vertically to defend them. And I think that's where he's going to try to step in through formation suggestions, through motion suggestions, and tying in ways to get athletes into space and get them into one-on-one matchups that help them create some big plays. So I think it's an interesting tie-in, especially like I said, if they get a quarterback coach in a way that they haven't done this in a while, which is have a committed offensive coordinator, not dialed into just the quarterback room, but having a chance to work hand in hand with Kevin and develop things that make it a more proficient Sunday offense.